Hello everyone, this is Calvin back again with another video where I show the making of Getaway Stranger songs and stuff, and today we're going to be taking a look at Death Note / Final Words. Now this is probably one of the most, I guess for every Getaway Stranger song prior to this point, this one was definitely a risk, you know, very much a bit, I guess, edgy compared to what I've usually done up until this point. But this song was super fun to make. I started it back in like March or April, I forget, sometime like around there, I think, of 2024, so earlier this year. And this song is like pretty complex production wise and vocally. Since my last thing I dropped, Kill Me, was very simplistic, I want to kind of go back into something a bit more complex this time because I made Kill Me after I made Limelight, which was super just complex and all that. I mean, it was simple but also complex. But for this song, I'm just gonna be going over the way I usually do. And as far as what the song is about and all that, which I always get to in like the beginning of these, I guess. This one's a bit ballistic, I guess. But like the first verse is just me being fucking crazy, if I'm being honest. Just going in, just being fucking ballistic. And then it gets very, it kind of, that switches up a little bit when the chorus hits and then the second verse and all that. And this is kind of more leaning in towards the anger side of like heartbreak and stuff. Usually all my songs are just me like crying about how I'm hurt or some shit. But this one was a bit different because I explored more of the anger of it. No, I find it's like realistic to the reality. If you're going through heartbreak, if you're going through any like, I don't know, just you go through the anger, and I guess I wanted to put that into this song. So let's waste no time, let's just get started with you guys. So immediately I started with this like caves pad from Omnisphere that just sets up the scene, right? So you can hear that this carries throughout the whole song, does not stop. So and then the bass kicks in and all that, but that just has a slow fade in. And it carries just throughout the whole entire song, just that creepy cave ambience. It's like the something caves preset in Omnisphere. But yeah, so there's that. So that just carries throughout the whole song. As further, well, I guess we'll start with the intro, right? So there's two bass textures. Well, there's technically three if we include the bass stabs, but that's kind of different in my opinion. So as far as like bass textures go, there's like the bass pad in the gritty bass. Same actually with Kill Me, like similar bass layers, like different bass tones, but like similar in the way that they're layered, right? So I made like a just got like a high cut, low pass, whatever filter thing. And kind of that slowly disables as it rises up and shit in the intro. And this is like the bass, right? So bass pad 1, bass 2, and they're playing the exact same notes throughout the entire thing. At least I hope they are. I don't know. I exported these from the original demo I had of the song that I started in. Like pretty much everything here is bounced. So hopefully these are all the same notes, like with each bass. I don't know. I kind of didn't check that, but I think they are. I hope. And then the intro, there's also this Airy pad that gets added. That's also filtered in with the bass. And that just adds like a little bit to the high end, or I don't know high end, but like upper mids maybe. Yeah. And then I guess we can kind of get to the percussion that gets added, right? So these snaps are actually 3 snaps layered. So snap 1, snap 2, snap 3, which isn't even a snap, it's just a spacey percussion hit, right? So that's like the percussion. That's pretty much everything that happens in that first part, right? So I guess more simple than I kind of thought, but and then the drums that kick in within the first verse sound like this, I guess. This is like the basis of them. Yeah, So, and then also to transition to that, we have two risers. We have this very fast riser, and then we have this I'll disable the drums for right now. We have this scary riser. All right, cool. So you can hear, I guess, I don't know, just for the why not, I can just enable all that for you guys, like just the drums, so you can see what's happening there. So yeah, that's what's happening there. And then, of course, the bass layers are both enabled there. The Airy pad gets disabled, and the K's pad, like I said, stays throughout the entire song. So that's the basis of the verses, right? So if we just kind of, you know, ignore the vocals for right now, you can hear what that sounds like. Now, I bounce all the vocals as like one thing. I layer them and I bounce them just for the sake of you know, not taking up as much storage. But so I'll try to like describe what, you know, what's happening with these vocals, right? So like I'll play it for you. So what's happening there is there's one layer of me, the main vocal layer, I guess, which is just like me recording this range, kind of, I guess, you know, like that. And then there's another layer that's me kind of recording an octave up, so basically like kind of shouting it. Then that's distorted and has some more reverb on it. And then I copy and pasted that first main vocal, like say like that lower one, pitched it down, copy and pasted it again, then pitched it up. If you look at any of my other like videos where I go over songs I made, I always do this just to add like a little extra beef to my vocals. So that's what's happening there, right? You can hear that by itself. Say fuck you bitch, then I throw it to the side. Smile on my face while I'm fucking up your wife. I might fuck around and fuck your fake friends. I told you I can take this, told you I'm impatient. Yeah, so that's what's happening there, and I guess that's essentially what's happening in the verses. Second verse is like same shit, same bass pattern, even I think same drums. But in the second verse actually, there's this impact. There's this impact that gets added in the second verse that's not in the first verse, and it sounds like this. Just a little like thing to I don't know, smoothly transition it from drop into verse 2. And then as you guys can hear in the little bit before the chorus, I have a vocoder on my voice. And I forget the chord that's playing. I honestly don't know anything about theory. I just plug in notes until I think it sounds good. But it sounds like, where is it? It sounds like this. Through the day, I'ma wake up through the night. I wish I had, I guess I could go back to a different project file where I have all the vocal layers like separate, because right now I can't disable any vocal layers to show you what the vocoder sounds like by itself, but just know it's everything that's in the verses pretty much, except actually in this first part where this shows up, there is no octave up vocal. That shows up again in the second part where this part repeats, but in this first part there's no octave up vocal. But there's left and right vocals that get added very subtly, like little, I'm singing the same notes, but, and then the vocoder that gets added, right? So you can hear that. Through the day, I'ma wake up through the night. If time heals pain, then I'm running out of time. And this nostalgia's got me holding my breath. I feel alive when I'm nearing my death. Yeah, that's kind of like what's happening in the, you know, in that part, you know, so, and then from there we transition to the drop. Now, in that part that I just showed, of course, the snaps come back for that, you know what I'm saying? The bass. No Airy pad again yet, but of course then the K's pad and is still there. The only time the K's pad cuts out is like right before the drop, so like right here, the K's pad is just completely stopped. Same in the second drop too. And it's also worth noting that in this, right before the second drop, there's a little snap right before. Hear that like little, like kind of, two of the snaps are still enabled. If you go to the first one, two of the snaps are not enabled. No snaps. Go back here, snap. Alright, cool. So then from there we get to the drop, which is like my favorite part. So Yeah, so there's a couple elements. Of course, the main two elements that make this drop are the drums and the synth. And then the bass stab adds a good bit to it as well. So I'll start with the bass synth. I'll keep everything disabled. I'll actually just disable the vocals too. So right now I have the caves pad enabled, no Airy pad, because there's no Airy pad in this first drop. Bass pad, second bass pad, bass stab. So you can hear what the bass stab sounds like. It just adds emphasis on the impact. Then there's also this impact sweep. And then once in a while, the same impact will hit, but I'll take away the sweep part of it, so it just sounds like this, right? And then at the ending, of course, different impacted transition to the second verse. So now let's go to the drums. So kick, same kick from the verses, but I switched up the pattern, I think, maybe a little bit. I'm not sure if I did or not. But, yeah. Very simple kick. I felt that because the hi-hats and drums, and not snares, but mainly the hi-hats were so complex that it was a good idea to keep the drum pattern very simple. And then if we go to the snare, same snare from the verses too, except you guys may not notice, but there's a little clap that gets added that's layered on top of every once in a while, like snare hit that happens. Hear that? Little clap. That gets layered with the snare. And of course, the hi-hats. So this is the main hi-hats. I call these are called drop hats in my FLP. Shout out Cymatics. They had this hat sample, and I manipulated it a little bit, just changed up some parts, but the main hats themselves are shout out Cymatics. And then the hi-hat pattern in the verses I actually did create myself. So I put some parts of that verse hi-hat into the chorus. So specifically these parts. Little, I guess, cicada hat rolls, That, once in a while, just, and they blend in well with the Cymatics hats. So that shows up in this first drop on the second half of the drop, those second hats. So, yeah, the clap, like, this is essentially all the percussion, right? And then, oh yeah, there's, this, like, what? Vocal, thing I added. What? Right? There's that. And there's also this vocal sample going on in the background that this is the first time in the song that shows up. Hold up. I'll play it by itself so you guys can hear it. So that's in the background. Just very subtly to add a little something something. We'll enable these drop hats and percussion and drums again. Apologies for this taking a minute. There we go. So this is essentially everything without the drop synth. So you can hear how much the drop synth is really doing and the space it's taking up. So now we get to the drop synth itself. You can hear what that adds. So that's like everything, Without the drop synth, it's nothing, And that drop synth is just like some serum preset by Make Pop Music, Austin Hall, shout out. So there's that. Yeah, and verses, pretty much the same thing. Like I said, there's that impact. Same thing as the first verses, pretty much there. Nothing really changes up. Oh yeah, there's this like little ear candy element. There's like siren. Whoop, whoop. Something like that. And then, okay, so this second pre-drop thing, where it's like, so through the day, I'm awake through the night, I add that in that vocal sample that's in the first drop in the background. And then I add one more vocal layer on top of what I had in the first, like, pre-drop vocals. And that's like an octave up vocal, but I quieted it and I filtered it out a little bit. So it has the same distortion settings as in the verses, except it's quieter, and I filtered it out. I cut out some of the high end. So there's that happening, but same snaps and shit, you feel me? Oh yeah, and another little different thing is that there's this little ear candy, like it's called an injury. I think that's what it's called in here, animals injury. I didn't change the note for it. I pitched it down an octave, but you know that sound. That's what gets added there. But that's pretty much everything that switches that up. And then second drop, pretty much the same, except the hi-hat pattern that shows up in the second half of the first drop and in that first drop shows up in both halves of this second drop. So it's there. And then there's also this little stutter transition thing I added. I was originally going to add like a drum fill. You can hear, I actually still have here so I can play it for you guys what that would have sounded like. But I originally kind of had both this like noise stutter and this crazy drum fill. Right? Like, but I felt that was just too much and that just the noise was fine. You know what I'm saying? Like just that, you know? Drum fill, like this, that's cool, like alternate version maybe, but like I just prefer the noise because I felt, I don't know, the drum was just like too much if I used both. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Then the drop is like same shit as the first one. And I explained what was different, and that's everything. And then the outro, it's just like the bass stab, all the bass, airy pad, case pad, soloed. With the drop synth, some parts of the drop synth creeping back in there. Yeah. And then after this, it's only the cave pad and a slow volume decline. And actually, there is something that does get added in the second chorus, and also in the second half of the second. Sorry, it's so hard to explain all this stuff, but the second half of that second pre-chorus thing, essentially you hear right here, this airy pad comes back. And then the airy pad also comes back in the second chorus. So this airy pad actually carries out through the entire second, not chorus, drop. Yeah, that's the song. Yeah, that's Death Note / final words. Yeah, that's everything I think. I hope I went over everything, but yeah, that's how I made the song. Thank you guys for watching. If you streamed the song, thank you. If you want to stream it or play the video, I'll link it down below. But yeah, that's it. Much love to you guys, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Tell me, where did you go?